There are truths that aren't easy to talk about, not because they're mysterious, but because they cut deep. Today's message is one of them. Being chosen isn't a glamorous title. It's a path that tests your soul long before it ever blesses it. It's waking up every day with a weight on your chest you can't explain, as if you were built for something you still don't fully understand. Maybe you've felt it your entire life, that quiet sense of separation. As a child, you might have watched others laugh freely while you stood there, feeling something invisible that no one else could feel. You noticed what others ignored. You carried emotions that didn't belong to your age. You weren't cold or distant, you were simply aware, and that awareness made you different. But different often turns into lonely. You grew up feeling misplaced, misunderstood, maybe even unwanted at times. The people around you didn't always see your sensitivity as strength, they saw it as weakness. And before you even understood what was happening, pain became your first teacher. For the chosen ones, the lessons start early through rejection, through silence, through the kind of wounds that don't leave visible scars. So let me ask you, when did you first realize you weren't like everyone else? Tell me in the comments, I want to hear your story. And if this message resonates with something inside you, stay with me, because the reason you felt so much isn't a curse, it's preparation. That childhood ache didn't vanish, it grew with you. It shaped how you love, how you give, how you seek connection. Chosen ones crave love that feels like understanding. They long for a soul that looks back and says, I see you. But often, life doesn't send you that person right away. Instead, it sends mirrors, people who trigger your deepest wounds, not to destroy you, but to reveal where you still need healing. You may have loved someone who felt like destiny at first, only to realize later that they were sent to expose your dependence, your need to be seen, your habit of shrinking just to keep the peace. You gave endlessly, forgave too much, stayed too long. You accepted crumbs and convinced yourself it was love. And slowly, your light began to dim. But here's the truth. Those relationships weren't punishments. They were spiritual training grounds. Every heartbreak was carving strength into your spirit. Every disappointment was teaching you the sacred balance between compassion and self-respect. And when all of it ends, when the masks fall and the silence comes, you meet a different kind of pain. The loneliness after awakening. It's not the loneliness of being alone in a room. It's being surrounded by people and still feeling unseen. It's talking and realizing no one truly hears you. It's existing in a world that speaks noise while your soul speaks truth. You sense things others don't. You read the room before anyone else. You recognize lies in smiles, heaviness in laughter, and emptiness behind polished words. And when you try to explain, they label you as too sensitive, too emotional, too much. But sensitivity is not weakness, it's your compass. It's your connection to the unseen. Still, it's exhausting, isn't it? To always feel the energy shift before anyone else does. To notice the tension nobody mentions, to sense pain that isn't yours but somehow ends up sitting in your chest. That kind of perception wears you down. It isolates you. And when you finally speak up, the world resists you. People turn away because truth disrupts comfort. You become the mirror that others don't want to face. So you go silent again. You start hiding what you feel, what you see, what you know, and it costs you peace. But hear this, your silence is not surrender. It's the waiting room before your rising, because every chosen soul reaches a moment when the noise of the world fades and only their own voice remains. That's when clarity begins. That's when strength is born. The isolation you feel is not punishment, it's refinement. You're not meant to blend in, you're meant to illuminate. And though it may hurt now, remember, even the brightest light was once hidden in darkness before it learned how to shine. In my view, everything described so far reflects a reality that few are willing to acknowledge. Being chosen isn't about privilege or superiority. It's about carrying a weight that shapes you from the inside out. I've always believed that those who feel life more deeply, who sense things others overlook, aren't cursed. They're being refined. The pain, the loneliness, the constant feeling of not belonging, they're not accidents. They're stages of awakening. It's as if life itself isolates you so that you can hear your own soul without interference. I see now that what once felt like rejection was actually redirection. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every silent night was teaching strength in disguise. To me, this path is sacred. It's not easy, but it's meaningful. Because in the end, the ones who are called to walk through darkness are the same ones destined to carry the light. A body that holds too much energy without releasing it eventually falls ill. A soul that suppresses its truth for too long begins to fracture. The gift of seeing beyond the surface is beautiful, but it comes at a steep cost. You notice destructive patterns before they fully manifest. You sense when something is about to unravel even without proof. You recognize someone's pain before they admit it. And that clarity can become overwhelming. You want to intervene, to speak, to act, but the world is not ready. It feels like you exist on a different timeline, tuned to a frequency most have yet to reach. And this generates exhaustion. Not the physical kind, not just emotional, but a deep spiritual fatigue. After carrying so much unspoken pain, so many truths swallowed, the body eventually responds. Because the body is the last instrument the soul uses when all other signals have been ignored. The body screams what the soul has whispered for years. Suddenly, you feel a constant weight on your shoulders, an exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. Insomnia, anxiety, a racing heart without reason, these are signs. A sensation of disconnection, of merely existing rather than living sets in. You visit doctors, run tests, and they find nothing, but you know deep down something is wrong. The body is saying, enough, I can no longer carry all of this. Chosen ones carry immense energy, and blocked energy becomes dangerous. When you suppress your feelings, avoid facing what hurts, or fail to live your truth, the body begins to somaticize the pain. Migraines, stomach issues, panic attacks, chest tightness, they are not trivial. They are spiritual signals, a gift ignored, a mission avoided out of fear, doubt, or isolation. The body can become either a temple or a prison. When it becomes a prison, you lose touch with yourself. You feel disconnected from your essence. This is when many chosen ones enter a phase of withdrawal. Social media irritates you. Empty conversations exhaust you. Even family becomes challenging because no one truly understands. Yet this stage has a purpose. It is the period where the old self begins to die, clearing space for a more authentic version aligned with your purpose. This internal destruction brings intense suffering, sleepless nights, existential crises, the urge to vanish from the world, but this collapse is necessary. Everything inside begins to unravel, not just sadness, not just fatigue, but a profound dismantling. Old dreams fall apart, beliefs once held as absolute truths vanish, people you thought essential drift away, plans crumble. You wonder, what is happening? Why is everything falling apart at once? The answer is brutal, because you asked to awaken, and awakening comes with loss. Chosen ones do not evolve in comfort, they evolve in chaos. It feels like losing your identity, because in a sense, you are. Everything built to please others, to fit in, to protect yourself from rejection, begins to shatter. You find yourself surrounded by fragments, unsure where to begin reconstructing. But these fragments are not the end. They are the real pieces of you, hidden beneath masks, obligations, and personas. This internal destruction is not punishment, it is liberation. The universe is removing everything that was never truly yours. In this moment, the chosen one begins to see themselves fully, stripped of pretense. And it can be terrifying because we spend so long adapting to the world that we forget who we really are. You realize that the version of yourself you created to survive, to fit in, to be loved, was not your true self. Survival is no longer the goal. You want to live, truly live, with soul and purpose. And then begins the most challenging phase, rebuilding with authenticity. To reconstruct yourself, you must first face the oldest, deepest pain you carry. This is the part few speak of. It has no filter, no shortcuts, no comfort. It is you, confronted with the grief that has lived in your chest since your earliest awareness. Often, this pain lacks a clear memory or name. It is an accumulation, wounds from being ignored, words that diminished you, silences that spoke louder than any insult. To protect yourself, you built walls of forced strength, fake smiles, swallowed truths. Now those walls crumble because the call is different. The call is to face that pain directly, as one would comfort a wounded child, because that is exactly what it is. The youngest version of you asking to be heard. When you finally meet it without fleeing, without rushing to fix it, without distraction, transformation begins. You realize that pain was never your enemy. It was a guide showing you what must heal for you to live your truth. Then comes the delicate choice. Will you continue to hide, to repeat patterns, or will you allow the pain to transform you? Only by facing your shadow can your light emerge. This is when the chosen begins to understand why everything needed to fall apart. The isolation, the illness, the internal shattering. It was to bring you to the moment of embracing your full light, with courage, truth, and presence. The final step, the one that truly terrifies, is claiming who you are in the world, not the mask you wore to fit in, to be liked, or to hide your feelings, but your raw, unfiltered essence, your light and shadow alike. This is the ultimate awakening, living without fear of judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. To take this step requires severing the last chains of limitation, family expectations, social conditioning, limiting beliefs, to stand in the world with your soul exposed. And yes, it may feel isolating. People may call you strange, even mad, but the cost of denying your essence is far higher. A life that isn't yours, a void nothing can fill, a persistent sense of being out of place. Being chosen is a hidden curse, but also a secret blessing. Only those who endure this journey can access a power few will ever know. Are you ready to embrace your truth? Are you willing to pay the price for freedom? From my spiritual perspective, everything described above is not just a journey of suffering, it is a sacred path of awakening. I feel that the challenges, the isolation, the internal collapse, and even the physical reactions of the body are all signals from the soul, guiding us toward our true purpose. The pain is never meaningless. It is a form of divine guidance, a way for the universe to strip away everything that is not authentic, leaving only what is real. I believe that the chosen ones are called to endure this process precisely because they carry a light that must be refined. The moments of breakdown are not failures. They are invitations to rise stronger, to reclaim the parts of ourselves that were hidden under masks and expectations. To me, the ultimate truth is this: liberation, authenticity, and spiritual power only come when we have the courage to face our deepest pain and step fully into our own light. This path is difficult, yes, but it is also the truest form of freedom. It is a reminder that what we once feared, the isolation, the breakdown, the exposure, is actually the doorway to becoming who we were always meant to be.